So we all know when it comes to being involved within the anime and manga community, there tends to be a lot of controversy between fandoms. And I don't just mean the straight out obvious ones like with what goes on in the My Hero Academia community or the Attack on Titan community or so on. I mean more so what goes on in the social media output of just a variety of fandoms. So nothing too specific, but more so the wide variety. And it's come to my attention that most anime and manga fans quite literally do not give a and for a pretty big portion of the time that goes on into some of those discussions are a lot of hot takes. And I think we can all agree that sometimes even ourselves can have some questionable takes on some series. But now that I think about it, those of you who watch my videos are probably some of those people that have some of the most wild takes out there. Anyways, as for me though, I think you can all see where this is going. And so I decided to draw on some ideas on what I perceive to be some of the most hottest takes, at least for me that is, within just the general anime and manga community. Because I think I've been around long enough to know when I say something that some people may just think is out of pocket. And also, as always though, before we hop into the video any further, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. That way you can keep up with all your favorite anime and manga content here on the channel. And don't forget to also turn on the bell notifications, that way you stay up to date with everything anime and manga also here on the channel. Not to mention, I actually want to know all of your hottest takes, whether it be something completely out of the blue or something super controversial within the medium. But let's try to keep things civil in the comments. I mean, if we can. Oh, who am I kidding? This is gonna be a nightmare. But either way, for whatever endeavors come out of this, let's just hope that I can make the best out of some of my hottest anime and manga takes. Alright, so I guess we might as well start off with a big one, and so far it's been almost 6 months since I've done my rewatch of Hunter x Hunter, and a big take I tend to see floating around within a big part of the community is that the Chimera Ant arc within Hunter x Hunter is classified either as a peak shonen arc, or some go as far to say it's the greatest arc of all time. To me though, it's not even close, and I would consider it an A tier arc at best. And it's not to say that the Chimera Ant arc doesn't have some really good moments that stack up to be considered an S tier scene or just moment in general. And how I see it is kind of like the first half of the arc was just plain out boring, and what made it worse was the character driven moments weren't built up as well as I think everyone else thinks, just in my opinion, and it just simply didn't keep me as intrigued as what either the York New City arc or Greed Island arc started out like. And now that I think about it, that's probably another hot take within a hot take. And to be honest, things tended to drag out way longer than they should have within the first half of the arc. So for something to be considered an S tier arc, to me at least, especially when we're talking about arcs, it's gotta be something that holds out through the entire arc. I'm talking from start to finish, S tier moments that reel you in from the jump to executing everything in full swing by the time you finish. But either way though, the Chimera Ant arc isn't peak shonen, and it sure as hell isn't the greatest arc of all time. Next up though, we have one more so that occurred to me recently when doing a stream over on Twitch. By the way, shameless plug, go follow me over on Twitch if you haven't already, where I pretty much just stream whenever. But Spidox, if you're watching this, you know what's up. But over the past few weeks or so, I would say that recently Demon Slayer has been at the peak of its game. Like, it's been pretty apparent that the anime is continuously improving on its animation and even its storyboarding when transferring it from the manga. And it got me thinking, would Demon Slayer be where it's at today with the immense amount of popularity without Studio Ufotable carrying it on its back? And obviously, you know where I'm going with this, but no, it simply wouldn't. And some would say this is obvious, but the manga is fairly subpar at best, and it's really nothing crazy, just standard shonen stuff. I mean, the manga as it was nothing special in Jump at the time prior to the release of the first season of the anime, and I don't know, I feel like this wouldn't be as much of a hot take, but it probably is for those who have barely started watching anime and or maybe reading manga, I would think. And Ufotable is just a studio not only good at dodging taxes though, but dodging anything creatively bad. They can truly turn something that is just decent into something worthwhile. Either way though, you give Ufotable any other anime on that same level, and I guarantee they'd be on top of the anime charts on a week-to-week basis. Moving on though, we're going to change trajectories a bit and talk about something many of you know I may kind of have like a disliking towards, and that's the whole isekai genre. For one, it's hard as it is to find a good isekai. Hell, it's only up until recently I found something that was worth consuming, and better yet, it was something rather not just good, it was great actually, and of course that being Mushoku Tensei. But other than that though, the whole isekai kind of genre just needs to stop. It's bad as it is to have one bad isekai, but to have some just copy paste garbage, it's just like, what's the the point of the majority of these anime that are coming out. To be specific though, I will give credit where credit is due. ReZero on one hand being a series that I genuinely was intrigued by with the first handful of episodes just couldn't keep me going as a series, and I just can't find true enjoyment from what it felt like I was consuming. I kind of felt like Kaneki shoving down that burger he ate in the first few episodes of the series. I just couldn't get into it. And the reason why I don't want to bash the series too much is because I've heard it is completely different in the light novels, which I guess I should be reading instead of actually just watching the anime. But from what I've heard of the anime, people are saying season 2 is peak fiction and that ReZero is peak fiction. Subaru is the best protagonist of all time. It's just a lot to deal with, but for now, the anime is mid. Deal with it. But by now, if you're familiar with the channel, you probably already know my love-hate relationship with the series of Fullmetal Alchemist. Well, I don't really hate it anymore, but it's just kind of a running joke at this point. But in all seriousness, I feel like one of the reasons why that trend even started was because of the fact that everyone and their friends would say, oh, who am I kidding? People still say that Fullmetal Alchemist is peak fiction. The best of all time, 10 out of 10 on Mal, downvote any other series that gets praise even close to it. And I mean, it's really just a me thing. I mean, any take on here is just a me thing, but to me, I just didn't really mess with the series like everyone else does. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, and I don't think the series is bad or anything. I've actually come to a ton of appreciation towards the series for both its world and its power system, to name a few, for its wonderful originality and its bent on non-fictional aspects. It's just not the best of all time. And of course, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, unless it's that one. Moving on to our last hot take though, we have one coming straight out of our most bizarre series to date, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. For a while, ever since I've been with the anime of JoJo's, because that's how I was introduced to the series, part 1 for me was a slow burn at first, but now on rewatch, I actually come to appreciate a lot more. But sadly, I can't say the same for part 2 and or even Joseph Joestar for that matter. Specifically Joseph though, I don't really like his character, at all even. And I know when I say that, a lot of people get kind of frustrated. I just don't think a lot of his traits are executed properly, and even the whole nonchalant ones seem over the top and just unentertaining. If it makes things better though, I think Joseph in part 3 was more entertaining and interesting as he played that role model figure for the rest of the Stardust Crusaders, but I'd have to say that shortly fell off as I got into part 4 with how the whole Josuke thing was introduced and Jotaro's reason for even being there in the first place. Overall though, he's not a terrible character, but in my opinion, he's definitely the weakest Joestar to date. And with everything that goes on in this community, hot takes will probably just get even hotter as time continues to pass. And it's really just something that's embedded within our society, I feel like. But anyways, I would love to hear each and every single one of your guys' hot takes. That way I can let you know to never say that again. But this was a horrible idea. And for some reason, if you want to see a part 2, let me know as well. But anyways, make sure before you head on out to leave a like and comment on today's video, and don't forget to turn on the bell notifications, that way you never miss out on one of your favorite anime and manga videos. Not to mention, but we also have a Discord in the link in the description box down below if any of you would like to join. And with that everyone, my Twitter is @AnimeAugie, and I'll make sure to catch each and every single one of you guys in the next video. Peace.